Laptop computer spins onto the screen, opens, and displays ATP Education Program Webinar Series, closes, and then spins off the screen.
Apps to support executive functioning. When we talk about executive functioning, we're talking about those mental processes that enable us to plan, to focus our attention, to remember instructions, and manage multiple tasks successfully. There are three types of brain functions that we look at when we consider executive functioning. And we talk about those self-regulation skills that are needed. One of them is working memory. The other one is mental flexibility, to be able to adapt to different situations and when different information is presented to us. And the ability to control ourselves, or self-control. When we talk about working memory, we're talking about the ability to retain and work with distinct pieces of information over a short period of time. There are 8 executive functioning skills. Some lists have more, some have less, but the 8 executive functioning skills that we talk about is organization, task initiation, impulse control, emotional control, working memory, flexible thinking, self-monitoring, and planning and prioritization. For this presentation, we're really going to focus on organization, working memory, self-monitoring, planning and prioritization. So we're going to look at some of those apps that will help support students who have difficulties in these areas. One of the things to consider when you start looking at supports for students who have executive functioning issues is to take a look at what is built into your device and the mobile device that you're working with. So you look at some of those features that can support them, like text-to-speech, the ability to have text read back to them. Document scan and markup, be able to scan in a worksheet and mark it up and put in some notes and those types of things. And then the ability to be able to have that stored on your device. The ability to screen record, to be able to record the screen when needed, to be able to go back and review that information. Reader is a feature that will strip out some of that information. And as well as a bunch of other of these iPad accessibility features that are built right into an iPad. If you're working on a Chrome device, there's some features that are built into Chrome, and as well as other Android devices. So there's a lot of supports that can be utilized that are built right into the operating systems of our mobile devices now. An example is Speak Selection on an iPad. The ability to be able to highlight text and have it read back to the student. So they can create lists and have those lists read back to them. If they're struggling readers or non-readers, the ability to be able to take text and have it read back to them is a valuable tool that's available anywhere on that operating system. Speak Screen, the ability to be able to have that whole screen spoken if they don't want to be able to highlight text and have it read back to them. Reader, basically what the reader does is it strips out all the ads and all that extraneous information and only focuses on the content of the article. So it really does help students focus and on the content rather than all the other distracting things that may pop up on a web page. Closed captioning. Closed captioning is shown to support students who are not deaf and hard of hearing, but they use it as a cognitive support. They can read the information on the screen. It supports what they're learning. So there's a lot of studies that show that turning on closed captioning, if captioning is available, provides that cognitive support for students, and a lot of them use it for reviewing information. Another valuable tool is third-party keyboards. There are a lot of third-party keyboards that can help our students. There's keyboards for grammar, there's keyboards for dictionary support, there's keyboards for word prediction. There's actually math support keyboards also. So there's keyboards that will help those students not only be able to retain and grab information, but give them those supports to be successful. Some of the keyboards that I like are Flesky. There's a dyslexia keyboard. There's Got It phonetic keyboard for those kiddos that speak spell phonetically. It will help them find the words that are appropriate, and actually will read it back to them and to make sure they have the correct word. There's a lot of grammar support apps also, like Grammarly and Ginger. So let's flip out here, and I'm just going to show you how you're going to set up a keyboard, because this is not necessarily in the accessibility section, but to me it is an accessibility feature because it does have those third-party keyboards. So where you're going to find that, you're going to go into settings and you're going to tap on general, make sure you're in the general section, and then you're going to see where it says about halfway down the page where it says keyboard. And you'll notice that I have currently, it says that I have two keyboards loaded, my US keyboard and my emoji keyboard. To add a keyboard, when you purchase an app, you download the app, and what it will do is automatically will load it into this keyboard section. And when I want to add that keyboard, I will tap on add a new keyboard, and you'll see I have all my third-party keyboards that I have available to me. So let's say I wanted to add the Grammarly keyboard. Now you'll see it's an option, and I will add one more keyboard. I will add a, let's do the read and write keyboard at this point. Now you notice these do have little carrots off to the side on the right side. If I tap on that, I have set this so it will allow full access, which means that it gives you some added features. However, when you do that initially, you're going to get a warning saying that there is that they're collecting information. Don't worry about that. If it's a legitimate third-party keyboard, it won't grab a lot of your information. Then when I'm in a document, and let's go into a new document here, and let's go here. You'll notice on the bottom left-hand corner there is a word symbol. When I tap on that, it'll switch between all of my different keyboards. So I'm going to tap on that. Whoops, we'll bring that back up again. I'll tap on that. It brings up, now I have my Grammarly keyboard that will correct my grammar. If I tap and hold on that, I can actually switch very quickly and easily between the various keyboards. So again, you'll notice that I have different setups for different keyboards. So these can really support a lot of the students that we work with. So that one is called, those are the keyboard, the third-party keyboards. This is my typical Apple keyboard. Okay, continuing on. One of the things also, a lot of these apps that will support our students are available on Apple Watch that you can sync up with an Apple Watch. So some of the organization apps like calendars, reminders, different types of study tools, recording tools, a lot of different apps also can be monitored and accessed through your Apple Watch. Another key component is optical character recognition, and basically what optical character recognition is, it's a technology that scans in printed material into a computer or mobile device and converts it to digital text. So I would be able to take worksheets, I would be able to take documents, PDFs that are printed out, or even textbooks, and convert those into a digital format. Once they're in a digital format, there's a lot of different things I can do with them. I can have the text-to-speech feature. I can also change what the font looks like and how it's read. So there are a lot of different OCR apps that are out there. There's Prismo, Seeing AI, Abby, Text Grabber, Cam Scanner, PDF Pen, and Voice Dream Scanner. The two that I like the most are Prismo and Voice Dream Reader, or Voice Dream Scanner. So the way Prismo works, I'll just give you a quick demo of that. So we'll go to Prismo, and you can actually, you'll see it has a camera on there where you can actually snap a picture of the page and have it OCR'd. I already have some of them that are out there that I've scanned in just for time purposes, so I'm going to bring it up. So this is what this document would look like scanned. I'm going to rotate it just so we can see what it looks like. So now it's rotated. You'll notice that the lighting is not great, but basically all I have to do at this point, if I hit on the middle of the screen, I tap on text and I tap on recognize text, and it will convert that text over into text that I can actually edit and use. On the bottom of the page, on the right hand side, you'll see there's a little reader button with glasses on it. When I tap on that, it brings it up in a new window, and I can tap on the read button.
Interpersonal communication and mindfulness. For our purposes within this book, we want to look at issues related to mindfulness.
Okay, so that's OCR, the OCR technology and how it converts documents into text. Reading supports, once we have it our documents into a digital format, now we can bring it into various different apps and have it read back to us. The other supports that we look at on the screen are the different keyboards, as well as dictionaries and stuff like that, that will help students when they don't understand a word. One of the apps that I like a lot is called Voice Dream Reader, and I will bring that up real quickly. A very powerful app. You'll notice, let's get into one of these books here. So let's pop in back over here. So you'll see here's the original layout as I have it scanned in. So if I tap and I want this read to me, I can actually have
Campbell explores these questions in the concluding essay, The Way of Art, in which he demonstrates that metaphor is the language.
Okay, so you notice you'll see it in a WYSIWYG format as it was scanned in on the back of the book. But if I tap here, I can actually convert that into plain text, and I can change all the visual settings on here.
Campbell explores these questions.
Change the color of the background, the foreground, whatever. One of the other nice features I like in this is the ability to be able to isolate and just go line by line here, so students that have a hard time differentiating between the lines or focusing on lines can now do it line by line.
Campbell explores these questions in the concluding essay, The Way of Art, in which...
Okay, so carrying on, those are some of the reading supports that you can provide for them. There are also writing supports. We talked about the third-party keyboards that are available. There are certain apps that work really, really well as far as allowing and supporting students in that writing process. Word prediction apps will help students who have a difficult time writing and thinking of what word's going to come up, or spelling errors. Word prediction will predict the words that they may use, and they'll be spelled correctly. Apps like iWordQ, CoWriter are apps that work really well that way. Text-to-speech, once we get it in a digital format, you can use the built-in text-to-speech, but sometimes you want to have added features. That's where apps like Voice Dream Reader will come into it, the ability to be able to customize it based on their specific needs. Annotation apps are really nice apps that will allow you to bring in PDFs and write over the top of them. Some of them are more full-featured than others. My favorite one is Claro PDF Pro, but you'll see on the list in your handout there are a lot of different apps that will allow you to annotate or write over the top or take notes, record audio notes, a lot of different features with that. There are note-taking apps that are really important for those students that have a difficult time note-taking, but also have a difficult time with that working memory, remembering information in over short periods of time. This will allow them to be able to take notes. A lot of really nice notes apps out there. Notability is probably one that you've used before or you've seen. There's a whole classification of apps, or audio note-taking apps, that will allow you to be able to take notes but also record a lecture and then jump to certain portions of that lecture. So the students don't have to take real copious notes and real detailed notes. They can take very brief notes and then tap on where they made a notation and go to that part of the lecture and listen to it. So an example is, let me get into audio notes real quickly. And so here's audio note 2. This was a lecture that I had recorded a little bit earlier. You'll notice it has timestamps. So at 36 seconds into this lecture, they talked about dissection. So all I have to do is click on that, hit play.
And now it's actually... Okay, so
let's go to frogs here.
The text screen.
So it'll actually jump to specific...
And you'll notice on science, when I typed in science, there's a...
So they actually will get their notes that they've taken, but they're also able to jump to that portion of the lecture. You can actually take screenshots. You can write on the screen, as you can see my lovely illustration of a frog here. And you can share those out also with the whole entire class. So those are audio note-taking. Organizational apps. There are a lot of really nice organizational apps for students to be able to organize their homework and to be able to prioritize them. Here's a whole listing of them. Again, those will be in your handout. One of them that I like is called iStudies Pro. When I go into iStudies, You'll notice that I have a whole week view here if I want to. I can go to a daily view. It's going to tell me what I need to do at that during that for that day. I can actually take a look at assignments, and then I can also look at priorities. So it'll actually break it down into prioritize. So the high priority ones are the ones that I need to get done first. So it really is nice to be able to organize your homework with apps like that. Math supports, there's a lot of math supports on here. Most of these math supports will allow you to be able to check your work and see the steps that you're going to go through for math. Study supports, what are those things that you might need to help you when you're studying? Flashcards are really, really nice. Talking calculators, there's a whole bunch of different apps out there that will provide study supports. So those are a lot of the executive functioning apps that are out there that will really support your students when they're struggling with their executive functioning skills.
Thank you for watching. For more information on the ATP education program, please visit our website at atp.nebraska.gov/education or email us at atp.education@nebraska.gov.